Alright, due to a request on YouTube, I thought I'd give a little overview of the rig here. It's running started off with this Align 700E. Was flybarless. I went to a flybar. It's a little more predictable, a little more stable. Running DJI AceOne with the Z15 gimbal. Running the standard servos that Align came with, except for the tail servo. Running 8,000 milliamp 6S batteries series. Running Western Robotics regulator. And I have a 2-cell 2,000 milliamp battery here. And let's go to the other side, I'll show you. I'm actually running both off a regulator off the 12S, and then it switches whichever one's higher. It uses the battery from that. So basically the 2-cell is just a backup. It doesn't really use any power from that. So running some Spindblades, semi-asymetrical, and then I dropped to a 395 kV motor, KDE Direct. So my rotor speed's about 1450. I've been playing with that a little bit, 1450 to 1500. The gimbal, just the Z15 N with the Sony Nex-7. Running a 20mm lens on it right now, which I do like. I think it's a better lens than the 16mm. And I've run a 24mm Zeiss as well, and running that off a separate AR8000 receiver off my DX7, which I don't have with me right now, but and then running a downlink 500 milliwatt made by Iftron, and running 120mm tail blades by RotorTech. And let me just spin this around here. I started off with a photo hire gimbal mount, which was rigid to the frame, and it just didn't seem like it made a lot of sense. So I went to this Photoship One, which DJ made the mounts for me for the Z15 Zenmuse, which works really good. It's got some isolators on here on the back. It's got the shocks in the front. Once you put the camera on there, it loads it out fairly level. Gives it a little cushioning, which seems to work pretty good. So on this side you can see this is Western Robotics battery buffer. So what I have is a 2-cell running through this regulator into 1/2 of the battery buffer at 5 volts. So this is set for 5 volts output, runs in here at 5 volts. And now another Western Robotic switching regulator, as opposed to linear, running off the 12S. So 12-cell running out, I got an output at 6 volts on this side of the battery buffer. So what happens is it uses the higher voltage of the two, which is always this, unless something were to go wrong, and then it would still have cyclic control, and obviously all the electronics off the 2-cell. So if something happened here, it would switch to the 5 volt. At least I'd have control to do an auto landing, auto rotation. So also off the 12S, I'm running up to the gimbal. So the gimbal will run 4S to 12S. I was running off a separate 4-cell battery, and once the battery get low, it just didn't quite have enough voltage to keep it running right. And sometimes if the battery wasn't fully charged to start up, it wouldn't do its initialization dance thing. So I just have that split. So it runs off the main 12S, runs down to this regulator, also runs to the gimbal. The problem with that is that you have to have the full flight pack powered up to play with the gimbal if you wanted to make any changes or whatever, which obviously just take the blades off. Other than that, running obviously the taller landing gears from Photoshop One. And let me power it up here. I'm running the telemetry on it too, so it'll alarm out if it switches to the 2S battery. That's why it beeped there. So here I have both cyclic and rotor, and obviously the AceOne is powered on right now too. And since I throttle holds on, so the gimbal initialized, and now you can see it's gimbal's running. You hear the servos chiming away, and said telemetry. Flight pack bolts, RPM, altimeter, and I guess that's about it. Running the factory Castle 120 amp speed control that the T-Rex came with, and so there's my alarm saying that I lost my power from the 12 cell, which isn't a big deal for right now. So also you can see there's the AR8000. I just have a little bubble level on there, kind of get me close to being level when I go to turn it on. Video downlink, which actually I don't have connected right now, but there you can see the battery buffer with the 12S regulator, the 2S linear regulator there with the 2S battery. Here's the GPS puck, which I did have to turn, which seems fairly common. It was not quite going in a straight line. 120mm tailblades. There's the semi-asymetrical Spindblades. And I'll put on the YouTube video description what tail servo I have. I don't remember which exact model it is. Here's where I mounted the AceOne module, the IMU, sorry. And now the other part of the AceOne I mounted up here. I should put the original battery tray in there off the T-Rex and zip tied it to that. The AR8000 is right behind it, and my wires are kind of loose right now here. I usually have them zip tied up, but I snagged one of the telemetry altimeter off there, so it's undone right now. But Spektrum telemetry, I have a the Castle quick link on there. And I guess that's about all.